Metal Up World, this is CJ with CJOrtiz.com and MetalMotivation.com. This is the first episode of a new 5-message series I'm doing on the power of visualization. This is all being shown in my Life Domination Online coaching program, which you can learn more about at the link below. The power of visualization. Now, have you ever said, "I'll believe it when I see it"? Have you ever heard someone else say that they believe it when they see it? What do they mean by that? Well, if someone offers a claim that something happened that just seems to be unbelievable, we typically say, "I'll believe it when I see it." Sometimes we even use it just as a cliche to kid with one another. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. What do we mean? We mean that when we get our physical eyes on something, when we can see something that will give us valid proof that some extraordinary claim actually took place, then we say we will believe it. And that's true. It's true that you tend to believe things that you see. Now, have you ever heard of an accident on the highway or something tragic take place, and they ask several witnesses what happened, how each witness gives a different version of the story? They might all be similar in terms of what happened, but one person blames this element, another person blames that. And you can't get all the witnesses to corroborate their testimony. Well, that tells you everything you need to know, that sometimes what you see with your eyes is not altogether reliable, but even more than that, what you see with your eyes is not necessarily what you will believe. And that's the point of this whole message series. What you see with your physical eyes is not really what you believe. What you believe is based on what you see with another set of eyes. Did you know that you have another set of eyes within you? Did you know that deep down you have a power of vision that sometimes exceeds the very power of your physical eyesight? It is the eyes of your mind. It is your imaginative power. It is the inner eyes, this inner screen in which images and portrayals that are in visual form are shown, which truly shape what you and I believe. Now, that's a great thing when it comes to using that imaginative power to be creative in a healthy way. It's damaging when those visual images are destructive. For example, when you have someone who's overcome with lust, they constantly visualize something. When you have someone who's overcome with certain desires for food, they are constantly visualizing those foods. Someone who's overcome constantly with bitterness, resentment, and anger, they are constantly visualizing what was done to them. Or sometimes they're using their imaginative power to speculate something, and that drives them crazy. In other words, they are visualizing things about people they think are talking behind their back, and they get themselves angry even when those people they're referring to aren't saying a word about them. That's what we call speculation, which is also an element of the visual power of your mind. Again, as I said, you can use that visual power for good. You can also use the visual power for evil. We want to unlock and discover what this visual power is, because truly, when you say, "I'll believe it when I see it," it's even more the case with the inner eyes of your mind. In fact, if I had to define the simple word belief, if I had to define the simple idea of faith, I would define it that way. When what you see with the eyes of your mind are more real to you than what you see with your physical eyes, you are now operating in belief. You are now operating in true faith. Again, that can be destructive power or that can be creative power. You can, in that sense, create your reality, because your body, your actions are going to follow, your emotions are going to follow the dictates of your mind, but not necessarily what goes on in your mind rationally, not necessarily what goes on in your mind in terms of how you operate your bank account, and how you do simple math or how you do simple mechanical things. I'm not talking about that kind. I'm not talking about just your line of reasoning. I'm talking about the creative visual power of your mind. There are people like a serial killer, for example, like Ted Bundy, who was a very intelligent man, yet he became a serial killer, killing women. Why? Because the visual power of his mind overcame the rational power of his mind. And what he used his rational mind for was to justify what he was doing with his imaginative power. This is a destructive example, but we do this all the time to ourselves. What do we visualize? What is it that we see? What do you see about yourself? How do you see yourself in terms of this world? You know what I mean? Do you see yourself as a loser? Do you see yourself as someone always beaten down? Do you see yourself as just someone that everybody is always going to take advantage of? Do you see yourself as someone who always has a dark cloud following them? How you visualize your life essentially creates the reality of your life, because that's exactly how you perceive it. So when you say, I'll believe it when I see it, you're damn right about that. You believe what you see with your inner eyes. It's not so much with your physical eyes that you truly believe what you see. It comes down to what you see with your inner eyes. And if we can begin to restore some of that, clean some of that up, get it reorganized, and get it to be it's working for you instead of against you, what a tremendous power is going to be released in your life. You're going to see things which you would deem miraculous. There's actually physical reasons for why these things will take place, but it'll seem almost like magic, which I think is one reason why a lot of people talk about mind over matter, laws of attraction, and that sort of thing. They may not be able to physically or scientifically show how the visual power of your mind affects physical things. It just seems to be that way. But either way, man, if you can start to release the visual power of your mind, I guarantee you're going to have some drastic changes in your life. And this is something that can take place right now. In fact, if you just want to take a few minutes right now, once this video is done, to just sit there and visualize something that you need to be doing, something that you've been putting off, you'd be amazed at how quickly you get in the mood to do that which you're not in the mood to do right now. Take a few minutes just to see yourself doing that thing, whether it's cleaning out an office or a garage or going to the gym, whatever it is. If you sit there and spend just a few minutes visualizing yourself doing it, you're going to start to experience the want to go do it. That's how powerful your mind is, because it changes what happens in terms of the way you act, the way you behave, the steps that you take in each and every day. You start doing that, and the end result is a totally transformed life. Can you dig that? I hope you can. So if you'd like to see the rest of this series, then I encourage you to visit my website today, metalmotivation.com/life domination coaching. It's an online coaching group which you can be a part of. It's very, very inexpensive. A lot of cool people are in it, and I am administrating all that goes on there, so you and I get a great chance to work together. So visit the link below. I'll look forward to seeing you there. This is CJ, the Metal Motivator. And remember, in whatever you do, don't suck. Metal up.